there's a story that explains all of history's mysteries, out of place artifacts, megalithic builders, all this stuff. And I'm in the middle of that story. If you're just joining us, I suggest you go back and start from the beginning because you're going to be out of place, just like those artifacts. So this story starts out by a mistake. Like I stumbled on something. I was hanging up Halloween decorations and I found this artifact head. Essentially, I didn't know what it was when I found it. It looked like a potato, but it had these funny scratches on it. And I picked it up and started investigating. I was like, yeah, that looks kind of, intentional. And I got it in the light and I realized that it was ceramic. It had a void in it, and I could tell that there was two faces. I thought they were originally feminine and masculine, but in the end, I now believe them to be something else. I immediately started scouring all these stones and looking for, other examples. And I thought, surely there must be more. I started finding a bunch of man-made markings, which didn't really make sense. So in the end, I contacted the builder and found out where these things came from. The original company is actually dredging them from the Ohio River. So all these things are collected in the bottom of the Ohio River and scooped up and sold to the garden centers, essentially. So I kind of get a little obsessed with this because, I'm seeing these man-made stuff, and I am an expert in fabrication, and I'm kind of seeing composites and bizarre things that shouldn't just be there. And I also am an expert in damage investigation, so I know what breaks and damage look like. And all this stuff was beat to hell. It was like destruction. That was the best way to describe it. So I start seeing all these man-made markings, and I'm just like scouring all these rocks to try to find kind of proof of something, because I didn't really have any ideas. I just saw things that I knew shouldn't be there, or possibly a native culture. And I realized something. I realized that even though like some of these things were clearly just smooth river rocks, these shapes kept repeating in a very uncanny way. And I began to realize that there's just loads of them, and they all fall into very like specific shapes. They don't really deviate outside of that. And you would think, okay, well, that could be a natural break feature or something, of the material. Well, these are different materials. They're loads of different materials. And it's almost like they were something. And thanks to my kid, who happens to be an artist, she noticed that most of them are serpents. So I kind of become a little obsessed with this statue head that I found, and I ended up finding some markings. In fact, they were some of the first markings that I realized, and they were markings that should not be on the continental United States.